Yeah, that's better. That's proper. World's fastest bumper car update. I know some of the shoddiest fabrication I've done yet, if it can even be called fabrication. Anyway, what else have we been up to? Yes, so welcome back to Bump 200, and I've been doing some preliminary wiring. Yes, I did hook it up to a battery and hoped it might do something, because that's the fan. That's our fan switch now, auxiliary number 2. 3. Why have we got 2 2s? Anyway, needless to say, nothing happened. Well, in case you hadn't noticed, there's quite a lot of this wiring lark, and that's just the left hand side. On the subject of which, I found this lying on the floor. It looks quite serious and purposeful, and I can't find out where it connected to. It may have something to do with the issue. Talking of which, maybe the ECU had to be plugged in as well. Who knows? Modern technology. We'll be carving out a little more bodywork now for our exhaust, which is now encroaching on the plimsoll line there. Talking of which, we may be exploring where the actual exhaust pipe's going to go, i.e. where it's going to come out down here. And having cut the holes, we'll be exploring whether this still fits, because we haven't tried that for a while. What is my right foot going to be doing? Well, normally that would be braking and accelerating, except accelerating is going to be on a twist grip, presumably one of these, and we haven't really figured out braking at all, honestly. Well, the good news is I found out what this was connected to. Yes. The bad news is I'm not quite sure what we're going to do with all this stuff, honestly. It kind of wants to come this way. There's a lot of it, and of course we've got our chain down here, and obviously it's going to have to be extended and whatever to accommodate where it's got to go. But I think the bulk of it is going to have to sit under the seat somehow, not at the back like I'd hoped. It won't go that far, so yeah, something like that. Yeah, except a little tidier, hopefully. But what it does mean is our regulator is going to have to sit somewhere here, which is not a bad thing. Probably put it under the frame because it needs cool air through it, so that might work. That's this boy here with all the fins, cooling. Yeah. And that's our ECU, which is going to sit under the seat. Clearly marked accordingly. I mean, obviously we could extend all those wires, but that will be a bit of a pain in the arse. If we have to, that's what we have to do. But it could sit right there, or as I said, underneath, or right there. If you've watched any of my bike builds, you'll know I regularly relocate the regulator. It's a bit of a tongue twister. And front wheels are delivered to Adam, and rear wheels are back. Don't get too excited, it's just the prototype mock-up that I made, so there's some dodgy joint in there somewhere. But I did meet up with Ron at CreateTech and had a lengthy consultation where he aired some of his concerns about the particular bits and pieces that I'd bought already, and most welcome advice and consideration of the whole project. He's really into this, actually. So he doesn't like the whole hub situation or the splines, because there's a degree of wobble in those. They're not really designed for 125 miles an hour, so he's come up with some better solutions. He also didn't like these very much. I never did either, so we're going to be getting some proper ones that are potentially capable of 125 miles an hour and don't have any wobble in them either, which is going to require some frame modification. So with the aid of a dolly or two and a jack stand or two, there's pretty much the situation at the back end, pretty much where it's going to be, give or take half an inch. And the purpose of this is to see where our friend the chain is going to arrive. Obviously not a problem at the top, plenty of clearance, and not too high either from the testicular point of view, so that's good. We can put some kind of chain guard in there, and on the bottom it is just touching the engine cradle, so we might be able to get away with it. Because some bikes have things called chain guides, and they're made out of fairly robust plastic. I've actually got one somewhere from the Yamaha, and basically they make sure it just kind of stays in a straight line, and they usually protect the rear swing. Hasn't got one, of course. That bike has, but I'm not getting that out. Oh, alright, there you go. So there's the chain guide. Actually, these are very rare on the MV Augusta 750. Aren't they, Mr. Slater? Yes. Luckily, I still have mine. Anyway, you get the idea. We put one of those on the bottom of the engine cradle, and that will basically guide the chain at the same time as protecting the engine cradle from being shredded like a chainsaw, literally. Again, this is not an endurance race, it only has to last a few runs. Talking of which, yes, these bearings, I've been looking at some of the bearings that Ron put me onto, and very few of them are capable of the kind of punishment that they're going to be undergoing, i.e., what did we work out, was it 8,000 something revs a minute for those little back wheels? So yeah, I found some that do 7,000. They're about $70 each, and I found some that do 9,500, which would be erring on the safe side. They, of course, are 3 times the price. Yes, we're making a chain guard out of cardboard, of course. Prototype number 2. That ought to do the trick, I think. Which means, of course, in turn, our seat mount is going to have to be higher and further back, as we expected, because we're still not sure where the steering column's going to come up. It could come up in the engine cradle at a very sharp angle, or behind the engine cradle. We don't know yet. I'm not knowing, Chuck. But that ought to do it. Yeah, just another couple of inches. We'll see what that actually looks like once we get the body on again. Well, I don't know about you, but I think that's quite a good starting point. It's an old shower rail thing. I've used it before. It's aluminum, so it's nice and lightweight. It's a channel that's about perfect for a motorcycle chain. Yes, I think that ought to do it. With a little extra modification. And if you think I'm snorting something, you're quite right. It's going to work beautifully. Might put a side guard on this side too, just to be doubly safe. After all, we have got a pair. One double-sided chain guard, which obviously wouldn't be complete without our hazard tape. Lovely. So, what are we going to be looking at next? Well, the front and middle section is coming together nicely. I think we're going to be focusing on the back end. You never know, we might even have our proper axle and proper bearings. So we might be doing some welding at the back here to accommodate aforementioned bearings. Something like this additional structure in green. Anyway, lots to look forward to. So do tune in next time if you haven't already. Subscribe down here, you'll need to do that. If you thought the video was any good, give it a thumbs up, that's important. Even if you thought it was terrible, give it a thumbs down. I don't know what that does. And encourage others to watch my lunacy.